All right. I think we are live. Hello. How's everybody doing out there? We're just now broadcasting here. Hope everybody's doing well this Wednesday night, middle of the week, hump day or hump night as we call it. This is my first live stream, so bear with me as I get through the technical details. I do see that a few people have jumped on here. I see Strilox, Stash, hello, how are you? I see another internet user, hello, Ethan, good to see you. Nebula Tunes. Oh, great. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Hope everybody is having a great night. I am really looking forward to just taking a few minutes here to talk about some movies, talk about horror films, because Halloween's coming up here in just a few days, this coming weekend. And of course, I want to spend most of the time talking about the upcoming Criterion Collection Sale. And I've got a stack of Criterions that I want to recommend that are Criterion Collection titles that, you might not be on the radar. So these are older titles that have been released like years ago that a lot of people probably might have forgotten about that you might want to consider for this upcoming sale. So let's see. I see Island 007100. Good evening. How are you doing? See Texas Rangers Fanatics. It's going pretty good. And Mr. Panther 54, of course, I'm sporting my Georgia gear. My family and I, we're headed down to Jacksonville this coming weekend to watch the number one team in the country, the Georgia Bulldogs, take care of business down there in Jacksonville. So if there's any Florida Gators fans out there, feel free to shout me out. And of course, if you're a Dogs fan, go Dogs. Let's see. Someone's asking, let's see. I guess we'll go ahead and get this question here up front. Ethan, James, did you hear the Barnes & Noble sale starts this Friday, allegedly? I will go ahead and say that is what I've heard, and that is my understanding. Of course, we won't know for sure until the clock strikes midnight at 12 a.m. Friday morning. But that's what I've heard, that the Barnes & Noble sale is going to start this Friday, the 29th, and run through Cyber Monday, November the 29th. So it's going to be from the 29th to the 29th. So that is what I've heard, and that's what I'm expecting to see here. So fingers crossed for that. I know I'm very excited about this upcoming Barnes & Noble sale. I've got a full stack of titles here that I'm going to recommend that I think would be some great recommendations. If you're looking to, build out your collection, there's different types of Criterion collectors. There's people who are completely new, who haven't, quite dipped their toe into the pond yet, or they only have a few titles, and they're trying to figure out, if I'm trying to build a Criterion collection, what are some of those first titles I should get? And then there's people who, have several hundred titles, and they're just picking up some of the new things that come out. So let me know in the comments section where you fall and what titles you are looking to pick up in this Criterion Collection sale. And I'm going to recommend some. And if you've got some recommendations, throw yours in. I also want to talk about horror films and what horror films you all have been watching and enjoying. I've watched a few recently myself. What are some horror titles that you guys have been into? Let's see. I'm an Arkansas fan. Let's see here. Yeah, Texas Rangers Fanatics. I'm an Arkansas fan, so I have no comment on Georgia. Well, I'll tell you something. Texas Rangers Fanatics, we absolutely love your coach, Sam Pittman. He is Georgia. I believe Georgia is number one, largely because of the work of Sam Pittman, your coach. He has done an amazing job building our offensive line and the recruiting that he's done over the years. So he has done an amazing job recruiting for our program. And he's a big reason why Georgia's where it's at today. So Georgia fans love Mr. Pittman. So let's see. Mr. Panther, those new 4K titles, Citizen Kane, Uncut Gems. Yes, November the 23rd is going to be a big monster day for the Criterion Collection. I mean, you've got those 3 4K titles coming out, Uncut Gems, Menace to Society, of course, Citizen Kane. So that's going to be a monster day, as well as I'm really excited about the 4K from Kino Lorber coming out of the 1978 film Invasion of the Body Snatchers. So I'm really excited about that. Let me know in the comments below if you're excited about that title. But let me start off here, and I'm going to recommend a couple of horror titles that I've recently watched. I actually did a little mini marathon last night, as I've been watching a lot of horror films this month. And here's a couple of horror titles that I've been watching recently. Let me know if you've watched Dr. Sleep. This is a really, really good film. If you are familiar with The Shining, this is the follow-up to The Shining. So The Shining came out from 1980. It's a film from Stanley Kubrick. It's an adaptation of the novel from Stephen King. And so this is the follow-up. Stephen King did another novel called Dr. Sleep 30 some years later, and they adapted it to film. And this is a great follow-up, and it really expands on the Shining universe. I absolutely love this film. Ewan McGregor is great in it. Rebecca Ferguson is fantastic in this, and Kylie Curran, who plays the little girl, she does a great job as well. So this is a good one. Let me know in the comments if you've seen Dr. Sleep and if you like it. Another film is It Follows. Love this film. This is a really creepy horror film, and I definitely enjoyed watching this one. So this is a good one. Let me know what you think about that one. And this is an all-time classic. This is from the Scream Factory, and it's Carrie, the 1976 film starring Sissy Spacek, John Travolta, Piper Laurie. Just a great cast. So this is Carrie. So let me know what you think of those horror titles and what horror titles you all are checking out. So let's see here. Let me go through some comments. See. Yes. Of course, why does B&N keep the start date a secret? Ethan's asking. That's a great question. Sometimes I've called Barnes and Noble locations, and they don't want to say one way or the other when the sale is starting, and then other locations just tell you. So I guess it depends on what location you're speaking to. Let's see. Streetlock is saying Tetsuyo. Oftentimes when I get these different recommendations, I'll go to IMDb. That's sort of my resource to see Tetsuo. Oh, okay. I see Tetsuo, the Iron Man. Is that what you're referring to, Streetlock? Okay. 1989 film. Huh, interesting. Yeah, I love IMDb. So I'll have to check out Tetsuyo at some point. Let's see. Here, Ethan is saying, I'm going to watch Ed Wood tonight. Not a horror movie, but I watch it every year around this time. The Shining tomorrow, first time in 4K. Watch that every year too. Yes, The Shining in 4K. That 4K disc looks absolutely amazing, and I absolutely love watching it. And I think it's a great double feature to watch alongside this. So watching that 4K of The Shining and then pop in Dr. Sleep, that is a great double feature. And if you have the heebie-jeebies about horror films, then just watch them during the daytime. So I would watch The Shining and then watch Dr. Sleep. That's a great double feature. Let's see, Sean. Oh, Sean, great to see you doing a live video, James. Yeah, hi. Hey, Sean, how's it going? Thank you. Yeah, this is my first one of these. So I'm, learning the whole live stream thing. So if I'm kind of fumbling along here, it's because I'm learning. So I just wanted to, try this out and dip my toe in the water, if you would. So it is pretty cool to be on here live speaking to everybody. Let's see here. Mr. Panther, director's cut for Doctor Sleep was great. Yes, yes, absolutely. Such a great film. I just I loved Rebecca Ferguson's character, the Hat, and her group of, I guess I would call them vampires, in this movie. They were like a form of vampires in this film, and just a great expansion of the Shining universe. And I just love where Stephen King went with the story beyond the original Shining novel in creating that book that this film was based on. So I thought that was just amazing. And let's see. Nebula Tune says, can't recommend Tetsuya enough. Okay. All right. So that's another recommendation for Tetsuya. Okay. And Ethan saying he watched Dr. Sleep for the first time and it was good. I have an hour to kill before the Cavs game starts, so this was a great time for a live stream. Okay, cool. Well, glad you're able to join. Yeah, so I've got a couple of other horror recommendations that I'm going to put out there, and I'll get a few more horror recommendations from you all as well. And then we'll shift gears and we'll talk a little bit about this upcoming Criterion Collection Sale, which we believe is starting this Friday. So don't hold me to that. That's just what I've heard. And I'm very much looking forward to it. And I think that it's going to be a really epic sale, especially for me, at least. That November 23rd date is just going to be epic. I'm really looking forward to those titles. I'm looking forward to really seeing what they're going to do with that 4K transfer for Citizen Kane. So very excited about that. Now, here are a couple of, speaking of The Shining, someone mentioned The Shining 4K. Here's that one there. Love that film. Of course, here are a few Criterion Collection horror titles. This one's out of print, unfortunately, but so I'm glad I picked this one up when I did. Rosemary's Baby. This is an incredibly creepy film starring Mia Farrow and John Cassavetes and Ruth Gordon from 1968. So just an amazing film. Of course, this is George Romero's classic, Night of the Living Dead. Any Romero fans or Night of the Living Dead fans out there? Carnival of Souls. So this is a really, really good one from Herc Harvey. So I love those titles. So yeah, let me know what your favorite horror films are, whether they're in the Criterion Collection or not. Let me know what your favorite classic horror films are, so older horror films, as well as horror films that are sort of newer horror titles. So titles like, It Follows that recently came out, the Halloween film from 2018. Have any of you seen Halloween Kills? I haven't seen that yet. Do you recommend that? Let's see. Big Romero fan here. Strelok says, okay. Love Dawn of the Dead. Okay. Let's see here. Okay. And we've got, I'd love to see a third collaboration between you and Daisuke sometime soon. Your conversations are always so entertaining and insightful. Well, thank you. Yes, I really enjoy talking to Daisuke. He is literally a wealth of film knowledge. And I learn something, new every time I talk to him. The first time that I collaborated with him, he recommended a title to me that is one of the best films that I've seen this year. And that was, I remember asking him who his favorite director was, because I think I was talking about Hitchcock being mine, and I asked him who his was, and he mentioned Ozu as well as Edward Yang, and one of his favorite Criterion titles being A Brighter Summer Day. And I've had A Brighter Summer Day for at least a couple of years. It's been on my shelf in my backlog, hadn't watched it. And so I said, you know what, let me go ahead and pop that in the player. And it's a long watch, but it is an absolutely amazing film. And I really, really enjoyed it. And so, that's part of what I love about talking to other film lovers is you're always picking up something new, learning something new about film and new discoveries. And that's just part of the fun of collecting films and watching movies, for me at least. So yeah, I really enjoyed collaborating with him, and hopefully we'll be able to get together again soon. I mean, he is a great host and an awesome guest. I agree. He is the most polite man on the face of the earth, for sure. Let's see. How long have you been into Criterion and art house cinema? So, got my coffee here. I have been into the Criterion Collection since, I believe, 2014. So, I started collecting Criterions around 2014, and my earliest titles that I picked up were, I believe, my first edition was either, I think Thief was my second Criterion title, but I think my very first Criterion was Blowout, starring John Travolta from 1981. And to this day, that single edition is one of my favorite editions in the Criterion Collection. I love that film. It's from Brian De Palma. I highly recommend it for the Barnes and Noble sale. If you see that title and you don't have it, and you may not know a whole lot about it, if you are perhaps a fan of Brian De Palma films, I highly recommend it. It is a great film. That was one of my first Criterion titles, and I got it at Costco because several years ago, Costco used to carry a few Criterion Collection titles, and they would sell them at $20. So they had their own little mini Criterion sale year long, because they had probably about 5 or 6 Criterion titles that they would keep in stock, and they sell them for $20, including Seven Samurai, which I believe I got my copy of Seven Samurai at Costco, which, getting it for $20 is a great deal, because even during the Barnes and Noble Criterion sale, I think that title is like a $49 MSRP. So at 50% off, it's $25 at Barnes and Noble, but at Costco, they were selling it for $20. So that's where I got my copy of Seven Samurai several years ago. But Costco hasn't really carried Criterions for at least the last 5 years. But I got my start in 2013, 2014, and have never looked back. I mean, it's just an incredible resource of art house cinema. And part of what I love about Criterion is they have something for everybody. They have films going back to the 1920s all the way up to current day. They have classic films, contemporary films. They have films for people who are into mostly modern films but don't like black and white films. There's plenty of films for you. If you're into older films and don't care for the newer stuff, there's stuff for you there. And if you care for everything in between, that's what I love about Criterion, is the variety in the collection, and the fact that they continue to expand their footprint, and bringing in more directors, more diversity within the director space, and bringing more filmmaking voices into the collection. So I just love that. I just love what Criterion is doing in that space, and I'm really excited about what they're looking to do in 2022, particularly around the 4K titles. So a lot of exciting things to come. All right. What are my thoughts on John Carpenter? Well, I got 2 thoughts on Mr. Carpenter. Streetlock, right here. Love this. And I love this 4K here of The Thing. This is, if you don't have this title, I highly recommend it. This is just a fantastic film. Most of you have probably seen this, but this 4K looks absolutely incredible. And Halloween from 1978 is an all-time classic. I can't recommend it enough. So I love John Carpenter's, films. Of the ones that I've seen, these are 2 brilliant ones right here. Let me know what you think about these 2 films. But yeah, I am definitely down with Mr. Carpenter. Let's see. Ooh, Sean Berg. Now, this is a big one. Just heard a rumor that Criterion is excluding the 4Ks from the sale. Hope it's not true. Wow. Okay. Yeah, I'm with you on that one. I sincerely hope that that's not true. Partly because I don't want to pay $60 for the Citizen Kane release. and I don't want to pay 50 for Menace to Society and for Uncut Gems, but also because I feel like it would really be beneficial for those to be included in the sale to get 4Ks off to a good start. It would probably hamper the sales if those are not included in the 50% off sale, but we shall see. I'm hoping that rumor is not true. Ethan, I love Assault on Precinct 13. Just watch it again Sunday. Carpenter's first great film. Okay. We'll have to check that out sometime. What about Dark Star? Dark Star. I'm not familiar with Dark Star. I'll have to take a look at that. I'm making a note of that. So you all give me these recommendations, and I learned so much from the comment section, as I've said in many times before. And I'm picking up, ideas for films to watch just based on what, based on the comments that you guys leave. So that is really helpful to me. Joining late. Hey, Matt, hope everyone's having a great Wednesday. What should I pick up during this Criterion sale? I'm glad you asked, Matt. Yes, I've got some recommendations for some titles to pick up. And definitely, I'm going to offer some recommendations, but definitely in the comment section, offer up your recommendations. But before I get to those recommendations, I'm going to throw a few questions out there since it is Halloween season. So what is your favorite horror movie in the last 10 years? Drop that in the comment section. What is your favorite classic horror movie? What are your favorite horror films in the Criterion Collection? And what's your favorite Halloween candy that you can't live without? So, as well as favorite Halloween spooky drink. So those are a couple of questions. You don't have to answer all of them. If you choose one particular question you want to answer and drop an answer in there, feel free, particularly around the Halloween candy. But to answer your question, Matt, I'm going to start off with 3 titles here that I would recommend to someone who's looking to build their collection. And these are titles that, go beyond this standard recommendation of get 7 Samurai, the 7 Seal, the 400 Blows, all those classic titles that you should definitely get. But these are recommendations beyond that people might not necessarily think about or may not be on your radar. This is a film I absolutely love. Not sure what happened to the plastic here. This is Badlands. This is Spine number 651. This stars Charlie Sheen and Sissy Spacek. Now, I just mentioned Carrie a few minutes ago from 1976. This film is from 1973. So this film came out 3 years before Carrie. So this is Sissy Spacek pre-Carrie. And this is almost like a Bonnie and Clyde type film. It stars a very young Charlie Sheen and Sissy Spacek in this film in 1973. It's from Terrence Malick. This is a great, great film, and I cannot recommend this enough. Badlands. Of course, Wes Anderson's coming out with a new film, The French Dispatch, that I'm looking forward to seeing. But this is the most recent edition that Criterion has released of his films, The Grand Budapest Hotel. Great edition to pick up if you don't have this one. And Mr. Alex Cox in a film starring one of Charlie Sheen's sons, Emilio Estevez, Repo Man. This is from 1984. This is a great film and a great edition. Has just incredible artwork on it. And this is just a fantastic digipack that I love. That has just some really cool psychedelic artwork on it. Highly recommended to pick up in the Criterion sale. If you don't have it, it's Spine number 654 in the collection. You can see that. I'm not doing a good job of with the camera work here, but Repo Man, great one to pick up. So yeah, those are just a few of the recommendations. I've got several more. Let's see. Martin Sheen. Oh, Did I say? I said Charlie Sheen. I'm sorry, Martin Sheen. Martin Sheen. Thank you, Sue. Yes, Martin Sheen and Sissy Spacek. Thank you for the correction there. That would be like me saying Martin Sheen stars in 2.5 Men. So yes, thank you for the correction there. Let's see. My candy would be M&M's, Kit Kats, Skittles, and Jolly Ranchers. Okay, I like those choices. I like the Skittles for sure, and the Jolly Ranchers, and the M&M's as well. Now, with the M&M's, does anyone have a preference for the peanut M&Ms or just the chocolate M&Ms? So, I kind of like the ones with the peanuts. Let's see. All right, favorite classic. This is Island 007-100. Hello. Favorite classic is the original Halloween. Interestingly, the commentary track on the DVD Blu-ray was originally recorded for the Criterion Laserdisc back in 1994. It's very interesting. So the commentary track, okay, that's awesome. And then here, do you think it's odd Isle of Dogs is Anderson's only film not on Criterion so far? I adore it and hope it gets a release. Yeah, that is interesting. I would have to believe that Isle of Dogs at some point will get a Criterion release because they have been releasing all of his films. And so I would have to think at some point Isle of Dogs would make its way to the Criterion Collection. See, okay, now this is one I haven't seen in the last 10 years, Lighthouse. I've heard a lot of good things about it. Robin Pattinson and Willem Dafoe, I believe, is in that film. And I've heard some really good things about that one. I have not watched it yet. Classic, The Thing. Let's see. What do we have here? And have you seen The Lighthouse? While maybe not the scariest movie, it's still a great horror thriller. So yeah, a lot of love for The Lighthouse. A lot of love for The Lighthouse tonight. A random player. Are there any box sets you're eyeing for the sale? So that is a great question. And to be honest, at the moment, I can't really say there is well, there is one box set. I take that back. There is one box set. It's the Melvin Van Peebles set. That is the single box set that I'm looking to get for this sale. There's several other box sets that I haven't gotten yet, but that's the one that I'm eyeing for this particular sale. So that's a great question to the general audience as well. Are there any particular box sets that you're looking to get? I can certainly recommend the Essential Fellini set. Did a review of that on the channel. That set is absolutely fantastic. The Agnes Varda set is amazing. Of course, the Ingmar Bergman cinema is incredible. The World of Wong Kar-wai is just an extraordinary set. It's so beautifully designed. It's like a work of art, the design of that box set. And I think the films are just absolutely magnificent. A lot of people had issues with the transfers, I guess the colors in those films, but I thought they looked fine to me. I thought they looked just absolutely fantastic. And I just love the films, especially In the Mood for Love in 2046 and Chungking Express. That is a fantastic set. Do I have Still Walking? I do not have that one. That is one that has been recommended, but I have not picked that one up yet. See, Matt is saying, ooh, have never seen Repo Man. Super cool art. Yes, it is cool art. And it's a really cool, trippy kind of film as well. So if you like weird, trippy kind of films, definitely recommend that one. Let's see, all time, The Shining, in the Criterion Collection, Night of the Living Dead, Candy, Peanut M&Ms. Love it, love it. Favorite classic is the original Halloween. This is Island 007-100. Interestingly, okay, I already read that one. All right, let's see, going down the list here. Okay, Sean, do you think Kurosawa gets a box set, being that he has so many films in the collection? I've heard speculation from people, and I'm avoiding buying any more of his titles just in case they do. Yes, that is an interesting question. I'm not sure. It is possible, and that is one of the things that as I think about 2022 for Criterion, I'm excited about a couple of things. I'm excited, number one, about the 4K titles that they're going to be announcing this year, because I think that there's going to be some great 4K titles coming out in 2022 from Criterion. And I'm also continuing to wait for them to announce Spellbound from Hitchcock, as well as some additional films from Hitchcock, as well as Chaplin. So I do believe that they're due for another Hitchcock and or Chaplin release in 2022. So I'm really excited about that, because it's been a while since they released titles from either of those directors. So I'm looking forward to that. But as far as a Kurosawa set is possible, we shall see. I would love to see that. But I have so many of his films that I kind of wonder, would it be worth it for me to invest in a box set unless they did brand new transfers? I will say that one thing I would be very excited about next year, if they announce this, as far as 4K titles, would be a 4K of Seven Samurai. I think a lot of people would be very excited about that, including myself. Let's see. Okay. Ethan's questioning the rumors surrounding the Kurosawa box set, as they have already released a box set previously. I could see the set getting a Blu-ray upgrade, but I find it somewhat improbable. Yeah, that is a good thought. We shall see. An internet user, I recommend the film Cure by Kiyoshi Kurosawa, a fantastic thriller, and is joining the collection. Cure. Okay. I don't think I've heard of that one. I'll have to check that one out. James, are there any horror films you like that received poor reviews from critics' audience? Well, let me see here. Looking at my pile here that received poor reviews. I am not sure. I liked It. I'm not sure if it was well reviewed or not. It might have received pretty low reviews. I actually liked It and It Chapter 2. I liked both of those films. Those films weren't really scary for me as much as they were funny. They made me laugh more than anything. But those would probably be the ones I would think of. Okay, they've basically released all. Ethan saying they've basically released all of Chaplin's features, other than King in New York and Countess from Hong Kong, which aren't very good, and A Woman of Paris, which he directs but only has a cameo in. Okay, interesting thought there. And then Sean, I haven't heard Cure is joining the collection, but I would love to see that. I've heard nothing but good things, and I've been wanting to watch it. Yes. So a lot of great thoughts here. Ethan's Bride of Frankenstein is one of my favorite classics. Also Freaks, which hasn't gotten a Blu-ray release yet. So cool stuff. Oh, thoughts on Hereditary. I enjoyed Hereditary. I think that came out a couple years ago. Very creepy film. I really enjoyed it. It's one I've only seen once in the theaters, and I really liked it. I don't believe I picked it up on Blu-ray. I don't think I have it. Thoughts on Kurosawa's films. I did a Taste of Directors series video on Akira Kurosawa films back in June, I believe. He's one of my top 5 favorite directors of all time. Of course, many of you may know that Alfred Hitchcock is my all-time favorite director. He's my absolute top director. And of course, you've got Stanley Kubrick's in the mix for me. And Akira Kurosawa is definitely up there as being one of my absolute favorite directors. I love pretty much every film that I've seen of his, including High and Low is probably my personal favorite of his films. I love Seven Samurai. I love basically all the films that I have seen from Mr. Kurosawa. Of course, his Hidden Fortress inspired Star Wars, And he was just an absolutely brilliant filmmaker. So there's one prominent film of his that I have not seen called Ran that I believe has a 4K release. And I definitely want to pick that one up. Let me know in the comments what you think of Ran and how that ranks in his filmography. But I love Kurosawa. Let's see what we got here. Daniel just got out of Last Night in Soho. Glad I didn't miss a stream. Okay. What did you think of Last Night in Soho? That is going to be an interesting title coming out, or I guess it's already released. What did you think of it? Did you like it? Did you enjoy it? Let us know. Let's see. Sean says he's seeing it on Friday. And also, let me know what y'all think of Dune. I saw Dune last week. I really enjoyed it. I thought it was just excellent. I thought the actors, everybody just did an amazing job acting. Denis Villeneuve is one of the best directors working out there today. Out there working today. And I think he did an amazing job. The only criticism I might have of that film might be that the pacing might have been a little bit slow at times. They could have tightened it up just a little bit. There were moments where, some viewers might get a little bit bored, with the film. But overall, I thought the film was absolutely amazing. And I'm looking forward to part 2. I heard very recently that I believe it's been greenlit for part 2. So definitely looking forward to that. If you could choose one classic film and one modern film that are not already in the Criterion Collection to be in the Criterion Collection, what would your choice be? Let's say classic 80s and older. Oh my goodness, if you could choose one classic film and one modern film that are not already. One of my favorite films from the 80s, I would say not, and I don't know if this would ever happen, but I would love to see The Color Purple enter the Criterion Collection. I think for me, that's probably my favorite Spielberg film. And I absolutely love that film. So I would love to see The Color Purple get a Criterion Collection release. Although I think it's probably doubtful that will happen. Let's see, classic film and one modern film that are not already. As far as a modern film, I'd have to think about the modern film to be in the Criterion Collection. I'd have to think about that one. But as far as classics, I would love to see The Color Purple. Beautiful film. Matt thinks it would be a great Criterion. And yeah, to me, I love Saving Private Ryan. I love many of Spielberg's films. Of course, Schindler's List, just a wonderful film. But for me, Color Purple is just one of my absolute favorites. See, in other words, a little preachy, predictable, but still fun for the 60s. If you love that style, that music, your eyes will love the first half. Second half for me was meh. Oh, you're talking about Last Night in Soho. Okay. Let's see. Okay. It is a really strange movie. It's a stunning homage to 60s horror and a love letter to the era's style, but weighted down by a confusing plot, an overbearing message, and a genuine lack of scares. Okay. That is good to know. Thoughts on Bergman? Hour of the Wolf is good horror film. I have not seen that film. But general thoughts, I think Bergman, absolutely brilliant filmmaker, obviously. The Seventh Seal, just an absolutely amazing film. Let's see, Ethan, love Dune. I've seen it twice in IMAX, and I'm really considering seeing it a third time before it leaves theaters. Yes. I saw it last week. When I saw it in IMAX. Just an absolutely extraordinary viewing experience. I haven't seen it on HBO Max yet. I do want to see it in HBO Max just to see what it looks like on the small screen. Let me know in the comments if you've seen it on HBO Max. Let me bring up a few more of these Criterions. I've got like 15 of them over here, or 16. I've showed 3 so far that I'd recommend for the sale. So that we all hope is coming up this Friday. that we all hope will include those 4K titles. Fingers crossed. So let's see here. This is another recommendation, Spy number 959, starring Sidney Poitier and Rod Steiger, In the Heat of the Night. This is a really good one that I highly recommend. Billy Wilder, who, just to give you a sneak peek into 2022, I really do appreciate the recommendations for a Taste of Directors series, directors. Of course, tomorrow I've got Taste of Tarkovsky coming out. Really excited about that one. And just to let you know up front, I am very new to Tarkovsky films, so I am by no means an expert on Andrei Tarkovsky films. I am literally a babe, with his films. So I've seen these films that you'll see tomorrow in the video: Andrei Rublev, and of course, Solaris, Mirror, and Stalker. So I've seen these films. They're all absolutely brilliant films. I enjoyed them. But can I tell you that I fully understand all of them? Absolutely not. I'm still processing and interpreting these films and researching the meaning of them. But they're all fascinating and just visually stunning to watch, and very dreamy type films. And that's one of the big takeaways that I take from Tarkovsky, is he's very artsy. So I really, really enjoyed watching those films, and definitely look forward to you commenting and sharing your thoughts on that director. But anyway, I was talking about Taste of Directors series. So Tarkovsky is coming tomorrow, and I'm also going to be doing, for 2022, I'm very confident that Billy Wilder will be a Taste of Directors series entry. This is Some Like It Hot from Billy Wilder. He has directed some amazing films, including Sunset Boulevard, which I would love for that to get a Criterion Collection release. But that is an amazing film from Billy Wilder. And of course, Some Like It Hot is also great. And then here's one starring ScarJo before she was Black Widow, Ghost World, a Terry Zwigoff film. This is a really, really, is that right? Zwigoff film, yeah. This is Spy number 872 in the collection. It's from 2001. This is a really, really cool film. Ghost World, starring ScarJo, Scarlett Johansson, and Thora Birch. And you also have Steve Buscemi in this film as well. Really nice addition from Criterion. It's got some really cool artwork in it. I mean, that's part of what I love about many of these Criterion Collection editions is the packaging you get with it. So this is a really nice one. Love this disc art here on this disc, and this booklet you get here. Super cool. So this is an edition I highly recommend. So I've got several other recommendations, but let me know what you think of those. Let's see. Oh, this is a good question here. Favorite box set you own? That is a really good one. I would say I'm still going through the Bergman set, so I can't really give a full opinion on that, although I know it's extraordinary. But in terms of, at this time, I would have to say probably my favorite is very close between the Essential Fellini set and the complete films of Agnes Varda. And I might have to give an edge to the Varda set as far as favorite box set that I own. I would probably give the edge to the Agnes Varda set. That is an absolutely extraordinary set, and of an extraordinary filmmaker. So I love that one. Let's see. In the Heat of the Night is a top tier Best Picture winner. Yes, it's a good one. Let's see. Kevin agrees with Daniel about Barry Lyndon 4K. Hopefully Criterion releases it before a different studio. Yeah, that would be it. Now that would be an awesome one. That film has such an incredible visual style to it, with the lighting, with natural lighting and the candles and everything. It's one of Kubrick's best films, and it's really, to me, a demonstration of what made Stanley Kubrick so awesome. I mean, this is the director who did, Full Metal Jacket, He did Paths of Glory. He did Spartacus. He did all these interesting films. He did the How I Learned to Stop Doctor Strangelove and How I Learned to Stop Worrying and Love the Bomb, The Shining. He did all these different types of movies. 2001: A Space Odyssey, A Clockwork Orange. Who loves that 4K release that came out recently? I absolutely love that release. He did all these different genres of film. Every one of his films were different, but they all are distinctly Kubrick films, you know. And Barry Lyndon is one of those films. It's his period piece film, and it is an absolutely extraordinary film. And yes, I would love to see that in 4K. That would be an amazing 4K. Let's see. Chris Daniel says Christopher Miller Halloween is my favorite. So bring on the basic. The new 4K is stunning. Yes. Now, how many of you have seen Halloween Kills? Have y'all seen that? Do y'all like that that new Halloween movie? Let's see. I'm looking forward to seeing that. The reviews I've heard so far have not been great, but I wouldn't expect the reviews to be great for a film like that. Ethan Munar's Sunrise would be a great addition to Criterion as well. Maybe the most beautiful film ever made. Okay, I'll have to write that down. Murnau's Sunrise. Okay. Oh, Ethan, Tarkovsky only made 7 films, so it won't take long to be an expert. Yes, that is true. And I do cite that in the video that, yes, he made 7 feature films, 5 of them in the Soviet Union, and then his last 2 films he made in the 1980s in Sweden and Italy, I believe. So yeah, only 7 feature films, and 3 of those films are claimed as being 3 of the greatest films of all time. So let's see here. Billy Wilder's The Apartment, yes, was so ahead of his time. Such a classic. Yes, I've heard great things about that one. I actually saw it on Blu-ray.com for a pretty good price. But that's one of those titles that I in the back of my head, I wonder, is it going to get an updated modern release, like either on Criterion, or would it get maybe a 4K upgrade at some point? But that's definitely a film that I definitely want to see. Yes. Ethan, have you seen Ace in the Hole? Yes, I have. That is a great addition, starring the amazing Kirk Douglas. It's the only Wilder film I've seen and absolutely loved it. Kirk Douglas is fantastic in it. Really need to check out more of Wilder's filmography. Yes. Yeah. So yeah, Billy Wilder is definitely at the top of the list of directors that I want to feature in 2022. So he's definitely a director that I'm going to do a Taste of Directors series video on next year. What pre-existing Criterion title would you like to see get upgraded to 4K Ultra HD? My pick, Barry Lyndon. Seven Samurai is definitely up there. That's definitely one I would love to see get a 4K Criterion release for sure. And I'd have to think about what other ones. For me, I would say I would want a 4K upgrade where it would actually be a substantive upgrade over the existing Blu-ray. So, which is part of why I was sort of holding out judgment about whether I would get the Mulholland Drive release that's coming out. But I read on Blu-ray.com their release of their review of the 4K for Mulholland Drive is pretty double thumbs up. They're saying it's a pretty substantive upgrade over the existing DVD. So that's interesting. That's making me consider perhaps picking that up as part of this upcoming sale, if it's going to be included in the sale, that is. Okay, Billy Wilder is my favorite classic director, with The Apartment being my favorite movie of his. That film is a part of me at this point. It's scratched into my soul. Wow. Okay, so that's 2 endorsements for The Apartment. Okay, if you love Billy Wilder, you'll love Ernest Lubitsch and Preston Sturges. Yes. Yes, Ernest Lubitsch has some films in the collection. Um, there's one that's escaping me. I forgot the name of it. I think it stars Carol Lombard in it, but it's in the collection. And Preston Sturges has several titles in the collection as well. Nebula Tunes, just saw The Apartment, and I agree, it's a masterpiece. Have not seen Ace in the Hole, but some like it hot. And Double Indemnity are both fantastic. Okay, that is great. Hey James, nice to see the live stream and look forward to the sale coming soon. I was wondering if you have a Letterboxd account. Good way for tracking films. You see, yes, Jerry, I do have a Letterboxd account. Do I keep it up to date? No, I don't. I'm really bad about that. I do have it set up, and it's not up to date yet. So I need to get it up to date. Also, put in the comments below if you have a score prediction for Georgia, Florida this weekend in Jacksonville, the cocktail party. Let me know if you have a score prediction, and I'll give you mine as well. And let me check on, of course, the other thing is I live in the Atlanta metro area, so I have to check on the Braves score, see what they're doing here. Okay, they're down 5-2 in the 6th inning. Okay. All right. Let's see. The Shop Around the Corner by Lubitsch is beautiful. Okay. Matt says, agree with Jerry, you need Letterboxd. Okay. I hear you. Island 007 100. I've been anticipating an Ozu box set for a long time. Criterion has upgraded only 5 of his films to Blu-ray. Yes. He is a master filmmaker that I think he would be a great candidate for a really nice box set. Tokyo Story, one of the greatest films ever made, just an amazing film. Ozu was absolutely a master craftsman. Film Collector Archive. Hey, David. Hi, James. Just wanted to say a quick hello. I hope you're doing well, my friend. Hope you're doing well as well, David. Good to see you. See, Nebula Tunes, ditto on Letterboxd. I believe Daisuke has one, but he's not super active. I'm not super active either. I've seen it. It is brutal. Okay. Have seen it. Oh, it. I guess you're talking about the horror film It. Jerry, I'd love for a Nurus box set or any of his films on Blu-ray, glaringly missing on physical media in the States. Okay. Christopher Miller, I've not seen Halloween Kills. The trailers haven't especially excited me, but I'm planning on watching it on Halloween. Probably will opt for Peacock rather than the theater, though. Yeah, and that really does bring up an interesting question that I'll pose to the group here. I mean, what do y'all think about, the same day and date with these releases that are in the theaters and also on HBO Max, or in the theaters and on Disney Plus, or in the theaters like Halloween Kills and on Peacock? What do you think about that? I know a lot of big time directors like Christopher Nolan and I believe Denis Villeneuve are not in love with the idea of these films being same day and date on these streaming services. But what do y'all think about that? I'm probably gonna see Halloween Kills. At some point, I'll probably want to see it in the theater. That's the kind of movie that I want to see, in a theater with other people and hear other people screaming, and when the jump scares happen, see people jump and scream, and I'll probably jump and holler myself. The Apartment is Arrow, okay, on Arrow, okay. I saw the Do the Right Thing 4K versus the Criterion Blu-ray, and I could barely tell the difference, so I went with Criterion for the collection. Yeah, and Daniel, you raise a great point there. And that's part of the consideration that I take into account when I'm making some of these decisions around upgrading to 4K or not. In part of my thought process around it is, if it's an older Blu-ray. Typically, if it's a Blu-ray from pre-2010, you have a pretty good chance of a new 4K release. There's a pretty good chance that new 4K release is going to be a substantive upgrade over an older Blu-ray, especially, or a Blu-ray that that they didn't do a really good job on the transfer. Maybe they did a great job on the 4K transfer and restoration, and you can see a substantive difference. In those cases, I think it's worth it. But in other cases where it's a newer Blu-ray and they've gotten better with these, Blu-ray, mastering or whatever you call it, but they've gotten better through the years. And so if it's a more recent Blu-ray release that is an excellent Blu-ray, then it's kind of harder for that 4K to present a noticeable, difference that would make it worth double dipping. So those are the types of things that I think about in terms of whether or not I would want to upgrade. Now, when I think about a release coming up like Citizen Kane on 4K from Criterion, I'm fully expecting that to be a nice upgrade over the 70th edition Blu-ray that I have, because I think that's several years old. And so I'm expecting this new 4K restoration to be a pretty nice upgrade. I would be disappointed if it was anything less than that, but we shall see. But that is good to know that the Criterion Blu-ray that I have will Do the Right Thing is, pretty close to that 4K edition. Streetlocks, To Be or Not to Be. Yes, that is the Lubitsch film I was thinking about. Yes, thank you. And that's an excellent one. It is so, so good. That is a great, great film. Kevin Scholler, UGA 42, Florida 13. That defense is solid this year for the Dogs. Braves down 5-2 right now, unfortunately. Yes. Yeah, so I like that score. And I'm sort of leaning toward 38, Georgia 38, Florida 13, 14, maybe 17. I can see Florida scoring between 13 to 20 points and Georgia scoring between 31 to 42 points. So that's where I would say Georgia 38, Florida, 13 or 17. But a comfortable win indeed. I believe Spike Lee is still selling signed Blu-rays of Do the Right Thing and Bamboozle via his website at retail, though not sale price. Okay. Interesting. Texas Rangers fanatics. I say Georgia wins 37-14. Okay. They don't score super high always, but that defense is unmatched. Yes, I would agree with you. So now is a good time to talk about a few more Criterion Collection recommendations. Now, these are three recommendations. These are three editions that are some of my absolute favorites that, if you're putting together your list for this sale and you're thinking about what are some really good titles to pick up that might not be on your radar, that are not titles that have been recently released that everybody's sort of heard about, titles that have come out this year or last year, but titles that you might really enjoy. Of course, someone mentioned Ace in the Hole starring Kirk Douglas. His son, Michael Douglas, is one of my favorite actors, and he stars in this film called The Game. This is edition 627, spine number 627, and this stars Michael Douglas and Sean Penn, and this film is from 1997. This is a great Criterion Collection edition. It's called The Game. I highly, highly recommend this one. This is a great one. You see on the inside here, you see Michael Douglas here. You see this nice disc art over here. So this is a great one. I highly recommend it. Let me know in the comments if you like that one. This is a classic that stars Burt Lancaster and Tony Curtis, and it is from 1957, and it is Sweet Smell of Success. This is a really, really good one. This is from director Alexander McKendrick. So this is a great, great title. This is spine number 555 in the collection, and it's from 1957. It's a very nice digipack. So see this nice digipack edition here. So this is a really good one with a nice booklet and everything, or book. So I really enjoyed this edition. It's called Sweet Smell of Success. Just tremendous acting from Tony Curtis. Love his character in this film, and Burt Lancaster. Just a fantastic actor. Sweet Smell of Success. And this next one is a film that is just an incredible film from director Götz Spielmann. And it is basically a German film. And it's from 2008. It's spine number 502, and it's Revanche, which I think is German for revenge. I should know this. I lived in Germany for 3 years, and I was a child. My dad was in the military. So this is called Revanche, and it's from director Götz Spielmann. And this is just a great thriller that I cannot recommend enough. This is a really, really good title, Revanche. So let me know in the comments below what you think about those recommendations. But those are some recommended titles for the sale. Let's see. Someone has a question. Daniel, what really out of print title or title that only has a DVD release that you would like to see come back with the new standard packaging? My pick, RoboCop. I would say what really out of print title or title that only has a DVD release, I would say definitely Armageddon or The Rock for sure. No, I'm just kidding. Let me think. What would be a good one? DVD releases. Do the Right Thing is one that I waited for a long time. That was on Criterion DVD that I would not buy for the longest time because I was waiting for the Blu-ray, and they finally came out with the Blu-ray for that one. The Hit was another one that I waited for quite a while before it came out on Blu-ray. I'm trying to think one that only has a DVD release that I would like to see come back with the new standard packaging. RoboCop. Yeah, I'd have to think about that one, in terms of, desired blue. Well, Spellbound. Alfred Hitchcock's Spellbound is one that I definitely want to get that Blu-ray upgrade, and it's due because Rebecca and Notorious have already been upgraded to Blu-ray, so I expect Spellbound to get its upgrade to Blu-ray pretty soon. Hopefully, fingers crossed. James, as a Phillies fan, let's just say I didn't expect the Braves to make the playoffs, let alone the World Series. I must say it's why I love baseball, though. Any team can get hot and go far. Yes, that's true. And it looks like the Braves might be going down tonight, perhaps. Looking here on ESPN, it's still 5-2, bottom of the sixth. They still got, three more cracks at it, but the good thing is the Braves at least won game one. So you want to win. If you're on the road, you want to at least split those first two games and then come home. So they've already taken care of business. Winning tonight would have just been, icing on the cake, but they took care of business last night. So I'm good. Nebula Tunes just checked. And yes, Lee is still selling signed Criterion Blu-rays for $40. I think I already checked that one. I like to see the Searchers get upgraded to 4K. Its Blu-ray is gorgeous, so 4K would be amazing, especially since it was shot in VistaVision like Vertigo, which looks amazing on 4K. Oh, yes. That Alfred Hitchcock set, that 4K set, if you don't have that, that's not a Criterion thing, but if you don't have that collector set, and if you're a fan of Hitchcock's films, definitely be on the lookout for that. I would go to Blu-ray.com. It's probably discounted right now, and that is definitely a release that is well worth it. You get Vertigo, you get The Birds, you get Psycho, and you get Rear Window in 4K, and you get those four titles for a pretty good price, and it's one of the best box sets out there from one of the greatest filmmakers of all time, my personal favorite filmmaker. See, Chasing Amy as a 4K would be pretty cool. Yeah. I would agree. I recently checked that Criterion out from the library on DVD. So yeah, that would be a pretty cool Blu-ray. An internet user says, has the Spirit of the Beehive been upgraded to Blu-ray? If not, it really should. Great film. Okay. The Game is a great thriller, also a good normie pick for people who want to tip their toe into the collection. Also, a good to show friends and expose them to Criterion might make some converts. Yeah, I absolutely agree. And that's what I was saying earlier about the Criterion Collection is that it's about classic and contemporary film. So there's a lot of people that are not into black and white, older films. And there's a lot of people that don't want to read subtitles and don't want, to do that either. And they just want a relatively contemporary film that they can dive into. And that's an example of that type of a title. Highly recommended. Streetlocks will definitely be checking out Revanche. Yes, I highly recommend it. Matt Swick, I brought Sweet Smell of Success a while ago as a blind buy for me, although Tony Curtis and Burt Lancaster happen to be two of my favorite actors. Don't know how that one slipped by me, but it's great. Yes, it is. And both of their performances are just, they both hit it out of the park with their performances. For sure. For sure. Question: how many John Carpenter films have you seen? That is a good question. I know, The Thing, Halloween. I'd have to look at the rest of his filmography. There's probably several of his films that I've seen that I didn't even know he was the director of, but those are the two that come to my mind off the top of my mind. But yeah, I'm sure I've seen several of his films. Sue Murray, I have only been collecting Criterions for a year, so I'm still pretty new to this. Have there been any out-of-print titles that have come back? I missed out on Rosemary's Baby and Harold and Maude. Any out-of-print titles that have come back? That's a good question. I am not familiar with any out-of-print titles that have come back. For those of you who may know the answer to that, leave that in the chat. I do not know about that specifically. But yeah, there are several that I wish I had picked up when they were in print, like The Third Man. If only we could get a heads up of these things before they go out of print, that would be great to know. Lonesome is a hidden gem on Criterion. I had never seen it until Criterion put it out. Okay. So Salo came back years ago after being out of print for years. That is really interesting. And that's a question that I would pose to the community. I have seen Salo in Barnes & Noble for years. And each time I pass on that title, let me know in the comments, do you recommend that I pick that up as part of this November sale? Is that one that you would recommend picking up? I know it's a tough watch and it has some pretty disturbing stuff in it. Let me know if you recommend picking that one up. Army of Shadows is out of print. Yes, that is right. And that's one that I picked up, I believe, as part of the July sale. And it stars Simone Signoret. And it is excellent. I love it. So did Piero LeFew. Okay. Love that one too. Actually did a review of Piero LeFew on the channel. Thank you, Piero. Yep. Salo is definitely an acquired taste. Okay. Thank you. Chungking Express came back, yes, out of print as part of the Wong Kar-wai set. That's one I may pick up during the sale. Yeah, I definitely recommend it, Matt. And Chungking Express was the very first Criterion Blu-ray. So, yep. Thank you. Thank you. All right. So, thank you for your comments so far. Remember, let me know what your favorite Halloween candy and Halloween spooky drink is. We've gone about an hour 10, and I'll go about maybe 15 more minutes and let it go for the night. But really, I do appreciate y'all joining. I've got about 6 more titles to recommend for the sale. So let me go through those and get a few more comments here as we go through the final stretch here of this live stream. Again, this is my very first one of these. So thank y'all for bearing with me and for joining me this evening. So here's a couple of titles that I would really recommend checking out for this sale. This one is a modern film. It's in black and white, and it's based in New York City. And it is a Noah Baumbach film starring Frances Ha. Starring what is her name? Greta Gerwig as Frances Ha, and the title is Frances Ha. So this is a great, great film. It is spine number 681 in the Criterion Collection. It comes in at 86 minutes. It's 2013. This is a really neat film that I highly recommend. It is Frances Ha. This was a dual format edition, so I'm not sure if the dual formats might still be out there. If not, it'll be just a regular Blu-ray edition. But this is a great edition from Criterion, Frances Ha. And then these next two are, I think, a great double feature to consider, and that's Valley of the Dolls and Beyond Valley of the Dolls. So these are two films I highly recommend. Spine numbers 835 and 836. Of course, Sharon Tate stars in this film here. Of course, this was from 1967, and this is Beyond the Valley of the Dolls. Just an absolutely great pair of films to put together. Films from the late 1960s. Beyond the Valley of the Dolls is 1970. So just a nice pairing of films to consider picking up if you have not checked those titles out. Let's see. All right, Raul Sandoval, are you excited for Wes Anderson, The French Dispatch? Yes, I am looking forward to seeing that and checking that out at some point for sure. You should probably watch Daisuke's video on it first. As far as Salo, he does a good job of explaining what you're getting yourself into. Yes, I think this is a good recommendation. I would love to hear his breakdown of it, because from what I understand, there's some crazy crap in that movie, literally in that film. So anyway, I probably will check out his review of that. Most out of print titles can be purchased on eBay for $50 to $80. So it depends on how much of a collector you want to be. The most expensive title I have seen was Man Who Fell to Earth for $200. Wow. Whew, that's something. Ethan, I really enjoyed this stream. I'd love if you did more in the future. Well, thank you, Ethan. Thank you. I appreciate it. I appreciate that. Thank you. So, any other recommendations for horror films? I'm going to go through my last 4 Criterion Collection recommendations. And again, I'm really excited for this sale coming up. And I've got my eye on that November 23rd date, because I'm looking forward to those 4K titles. I sincerely hope that those 4K titles are included in that 50% off sale. I would have to believe that they are, because I think it would be a mistake to not include them. If you're trying to get off to a strong start with selling 4K, you definitely, and if you're a Criterion, you definitely want to include those in the 50% off sale, but we'll have to see. So my last 4 recommendations that I have in this stack here are, and this is a very colorful one that was mentioned in my collaboration video recently with Daisuke. And this is a film from Paul Schrader called Mishima, A Life in 4 Chapters. And this is a film from 1985. It comes in at spine 432, and it is a very colorful release. It's a digipack edition, and it is absolutely beautiful. Just a beautiful release. And I highly, highly recommend this. It's Mishima, A Life in 4 Chapters. Comes in at 120 minutes, so right at 2 hours. This is a great one. Another film that you might not have thought about, that you really ought to consider if you're looking for a good crime thriller type film. It's a foreign film. It's a Japanese film. And it's a film from 1979, and it's from Shuhei Imamura. And it is a really, really good one. It's called Vengeance is Mine. So this is spine number 384. And this comes in at 140 minutes. Again, it's from 1979. And basically on the back, it says, a thief, a murderer, and a charming lady killer. Iwa Inokizu is on the run from the police. Director Shohei Umamura turns this fact-based story about the 8-day killing spree of a remorseless man from a devoutly Catholic family into a cold, perverse, and at times diabolically funny examination of the primitive coexisting with the modern. More than just a true crime tale, Vengeance is Mine bears humanity's snarling id. So great, great film. I cannot recommend this enough. It is highly entertaining. It's been a few years since I've watched this one. So I definitely want to revisit it, but Vengeance is Mine. And then one of those classics from Francois Truffaut that I highly recommend. This is Spy number 281 from the French New Wave. Francois Truffaut is Jules and Jim. Jules et Jim. This is a really, really good film. It's from 1962. It's 106 minutes from the master Francois Truffaut. So highly recommend that one. It's a really good one. And then this is a sort of horror title. It's from Henri Georges Clouzot. It's very Hitchcockian in nature. Comes in at Spy number 35. It is absolutely excellent. Someone mentioned Army of Shadows, starring Simone Signoret. Of course, Simone Signoret also starred in this film called Diabolique, as well as Vera Clouzot, the wife of the director. This is an amazing film that I highly, highly recommend. So definitely check this one out. Two women, a wife and the mistress, plot to have a husband killed. They plot to have him murdered or plot to kill him. Things don't quite go the way they planned, and the rest is history. So this is an amazing film. I highly recommend it. It's from 1955. It's from director Henri Georges Clouzot. So those are my recommendations that I have. Just wanted to recommend some different titles that might not be on everyone's radar, but are titles that that I cannot recommend enough that I really love. So let me go through some more of these comments here. If you end up liking Solo, watch In the Realm of the Senses after that if you haven't already seen it. Okay. What's your favorite Wes Anderson film? I would say probably Grand Budapest Hotel. Probably. Do you buy any Blu-rays during the Kino Lorber sales? They're my second favorite label at the Criterion. I don't. I have not gotten heavily into Kino Lorber. There is a release that I'm definitely planning to get from Kino Lorber on November 23rd, that epic mammoth day coming up, where we're getting Citizen Kane, Uncut Gems, and Menace to Society from Criterion. Invasion of the Body Snatchers from Kino Lorber is also coming out that day, and I already have a pre-order from Amazon for that one. So definitely looking forward to that coming out. Pro tip: if you plan on getting a lot of titles, get a B&N membership. It takes off an additional 20% off the total of your first purchase. Save that coin. Yeah, I mean, yeah. Now that's an interesting point you're making there. That's if they allow the discount, because I know that in recent years, in the past, you could use your 10% membership as an additional discount, and they stopped doing that. I think, was it last year or the year before? Barnes & Noble has not allowed the 10% discount, and they've also cut back on allowing you to use coupons to the Barnes & Noble sale, because people used to be able to really make out with using coupons, using the membership discount. And I think Barnes & Noble found that they were probably losing some money, allowing all those discounts. So they haven't allowed it recently, but definitely worth a try to see if they will allow you to use that 20%. I gotta watch more French New Wave. Yes, highly recommended. Truffaut, Godard, great ways to go there, as well as Miss Agnes Varda. Ethan, Shoot the Piano Player is one of Truffaut's best, but Criterion is yet to upgrade to Blu-ray as far as I know. Okay, have to check that one out at some point. Jules and Jim was definitely entertaining. Yes, I would agree. Another title I may pick up is the Cassavetes box set. Matt says, I have really been enjoying the deep dive I've been doing a lot of his films he's directed. Okay. Sue, thanks for the stream. Thank you, Sue. Thank you for joining. Strelock, thoughts on Bresson, one of my faves. My thoughts on Bresson is he is a director I have yet to dive into. I have not dived into Bresson's works as of yet. but I look forward to diving into his filmography. I've heard great things about him. Daisuke mentioned him in my recent video with him, so I'll have to check that out at some point. I do have A Man Escaped in my collection from him that's in my backlog that I need to check out. Excellent stream. Would love to see another one around Christmas time talking about holiday favorites. That's an idea. I'm writing that down. Christmas time live stream. I love it. Love it. Keep those ideas coming. Thank you, Nebula Tunes. Sue Murray, all the recommendations. Can't wait for the sale. I'm with you. I'm with you. It's coming. It is coming. I believe Friday is the day. I believe it is the day. Thanks for the live stream tonight and great recommendations. Looking forward to your Tarkovsky discussion. The Mirror release is a real treasure chest. Yes, it is. The Mirror is one of my favorite releases of the year so far. I'm still forming my top 10 for the year, and I have a pretty good idea of what titles are going to be in that mix. But there's several other titles I still need to see that came out this year to sort of finalize it. But Mirror is a strong contender to be in that top 10. It is an extraordinary release and a great film from Tarkovsky. And it's just a beautiful, beautiful film. Thank you, Island 007100. Ethan Bresson is one of the absolute masters up there at the likes of Renoir, Ozu, Misoguchi, Renoir, Dreyer. Okay. He's in great company. That is good to know. Yeah, so let's see. I have a couple of two other horror titles, modern horror films that are among my favorite horror films and favorite films I've seen in recent years. Jordan Peele's Get Out is one of those films. This film is just an incredibly entertaining watch that I really enjoyed. And it's got me excited for a film that's coming out in 2022 from Jordan Peele that I'm going to provide some coverage on this channel. I'm going to react to the trailer whenever it comes out, and I'm going to be doing some preview coverage of that title. It's called Nope, and it's coming out from Jordan Peele in July of next year. So I'm very much looking forward to that from Mr. Jordan Peele. And then this next title is from John Krasinski, Emily Blunt, A Quiet Place. And of course, I saw A Quiet Place Part 2 recently in the theaters. I don't have the 4K of A Quiet Place Part 2 yet. I'm looking to get that as part of probably a Black Friday discount. So I have A Quiet Place. This is just one of the best horror films to come out in the last decade, in my opinion. Those are a couple of other horror titles I would recommend as well. So yeah, I want to just say thank you to everybody for joining tonight. I've had a blast with this live stream. I hope that you all have enjoyed it. It's been a lot of fun, and I definitely want to do more of these. It took me a while to sort of work up to the point of doing these things, but and part of it was just figuring out how to do it, and I realize now that it's not too difficult. But definitely thank you for joining tonight. Let me know if you have any final comments. Let's see here. What do we have here? Have a great night, James. Best wishes from Ethan. Yes, thank you. Thank you very much. So I'm about to see Streelocks here. Great stream. Can't wait for the next one. Thank you so much. Yes, I'm about to sign off here, but thanks so much to everybody for joining. I've really enjoyed it, and look forward to seeing you next time at the movies. Check out The Taste of Tarkovsky tomorrow, and fingers crossed for the sale to start soon. Looking forward to hearing everyone's hauls, and hope you all have a great night and a great weekend coming up. Go Dogs and go Braves. Peace.